It's not game day, but it is the game plan, and things are changing. We have an update for you, unfortunately for Willie Gay, but fortunately for some others. We're going to go over what it's going to look like next week when the Chiefs take on the Bucs in the Super Bowl. 4:55. This is RGR Football. Welcome back, everybody. It's Friday. If you're not a fan of the channel yet, I hope that you will be when we're done here. I'll do my best anyway, and I know Dan will probably get the job done. So this is one of those deals. If you're new, click the sub and the like and the bell notification, and we'll tell you more every chance we get, like every other day. So,
yep.
I'm Ryan Tracy. This is Dan Harms. How are you, Dan?
Well, I'm the victim of lots of showings in my house. So as you can see, there's no Chiefs gear anywhere. It's just a picture of a bunch of fish. So I'm doing all right.
I tell you what, it looks just fine. Fish are fine. I know a lot of people that are actually happy about that. So news, unfortunate news. And that's the reason that we were going to do a live film breakdown. We'll get to that some other time, I'm sure.
Yeah.
We have plenty of time for that. And Dominic, you hit it on the head, especially for the members in here. We appreciate you being here. If you want to become a member, folks, it's super easy. There's a join button down below. You get some extra content, and you get preferential treatment when your questions come up. And you nailed it, Dominic, because sad to say, we found out not only was the initial injury something that had kept Willie out and felt like maybe he was going to do a walkthrough. Well, yesterday he tore his meniscus in practice, which is just heartbreaking for him. And quite frankly, I'm a little sad about it too. I felt like, he was about to make the triumphant return as they hit the field in the Super Bowl.
Definitely felt like he was about to. And whether he was trying to get at it a little too early or whatnot, I don't know how stress on that kind of thing can aggravate a meniscus. I know that I've had half partially torn meniscus. It's still, and they never repaired it. So it's just, unfortunately, some people's, it's always going to be different for one person versus another person, and some people need surgery, and it sounds like he needs surgery to have it repaired. So that's really unfortunate.
It is a tough one. It's not a terrible surgery. You clearly can't play on it. But the long term is not a huge thing. I mean, like the long term for his life, walking around when he's 60 years old, that has some complications to it. But for his playing career, it shouldn't be an issue. He should be back on the field by the time the draft happens. He should be good for OTAs, and I think they will have OTAs this season, so that will certainly help. And that kind of all bodes well for his continued development. That's the only reason why I'm not more concerned about this in terms of how it affects this game, is because they've shown us all year, despite what we see athletically, despite what we see in terms of being a difference maker, that they weren't going to play him that much.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, with all the other linebackers back on the field and practicing, I have to feel like maybe this just buys him extra time to develop, to mature, to understand everything, be in the playbook and all that. So I don't think it's the end of the world.
Especially, considering he didn't play much in the game versus the Bucs the first time, you're going to be going up against the vast majority of the exact same wide receiver group and running back group. So the grand scheme of things, it's not going to hurt them going into this game yet. It would be nice to have him on the field, or being able to be on the field, because he adds a different element to your linebacker group that you don't have without him. Yeah. But it's definitely not a position group where you desperately needed him, because he was like the best player that had been playing all season. So I don't want to say it's a good thing, for that aspect, but looking at it, because one, Hitch has picked up his game. Neiman has actually looked pretty decent in stretches down the stretch here before he got hurt in the Falcons game, I believe it was. He was having a pretty decent game, and he's come along a little bit in the playoffs. Maybe he's stepping his game up due to not having Willie Gay in the field. So it's going to give other guys opportunities to show that, one, this is the Super Bowl. Now you have to actually come and play, especially with Hitch playing as well as he has. I think that you can definitely have it in more difficult positions where you really can't afford that.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I look at it like this. For Spags, it's a tool out of the toolbox. If you had to have him, if you had to have a speed blitz in particular, or if you had to have, they're eating you alive on the sidelines with the swing passes or whatever, like that's a reason, right? And he won't have that. But other than that, I don't think it affects the game plan about their base calls or what their base plan was going to be. So, that leads into Hefe's question, and it's a good one. Can the DB stop the Tampa Bay wide receivers? Yes. Stop as in like allow 0 catches? No. But can they contain them? Yes. They've proven that already this season. And quite frankly, I expect them not to be put in a man position with, 6 seconds left going into the half where you walk up on their fastest dude. You know what I mean? So like, I'm not too worried about that.
Yeah. And we've talked about it previously. This corner group is made for the playoffs. They're grabby, they're physical. In the regular season, you can't really get away with all that stuff, but they like to put the whistles in the pocket a little bit in the playoffs, and you like to see that, especially with Breland and Ward out there who can get more physical, Fenton as well. They're all going to be out there being able to do what they do best, being a little bit more physical at the line of scrimmage, in the stem of the routes, being able to try to throw off that timing. Because if you throw off the timing with Tom Brady, with the way that Spags blitzes, that's how you get to this offense. That's the way to stop it. If you can let Tom Brady get the ball out quickly and on time wherever he needs to get it to, that's not what you want to. That's not what you want to do. We saw that in 2018. There was no pressure. There was nothing. Tom Brady was sitting back there, just throwing it here, throwing it there. He's doing whatever he wanted to. So now we're having a little bit different approach where Spags is going to blitz. He's going to show multiple different looks beforehand. He's going to let the corners get a little bit more physical and disrupt that timing because Tom Brady is a timing passer. That's what he is.
I mean, the man's 43 years old.
He's got to be.
He's nearly as old as I am, for the love of God. I mean, yeah, you need timing, okay? It's important. Doug, thank you very much for the kind words. Appreciate that. We work our butts off. I'm glad you guys dig it. Fred has a great question. I know that he missed practice today. Today was a walkthrough. I'm not worried about it at all. He will play no matter what.
I saw that they had 2 different tweets up where they were showing him practicing and him not practicing. So I unfortunately got the one where he did practice, but then I saw it was a walkthrough, and I'm like, probably just a maintenance day. He doesn't necessarily need to go through that. He knows what he's doing. So I told you guys earlier in the week I fully expect him to play, and I 100% expect him to be in the field for the playoff for the Super Bowl.
I expect him to make big plays.
I do too.
I think as much as they might be preparing for Tyreek, that's absolutely fine. Sammy will eat you alive.
Yeah.
Carlton Davis, it's going to be a long
man. I want to see him do exactly what he did to Richard Sherman last year in the Super Bowl. Line him up, man coverage, and Sammy just toasts him. Like, that's what's going to happen if he lines up in man coverage against Watkins. He's going to toast him.
I'm looking forward to that. It'd be hard to take my notes, but Sup Spicy, how are you, bud? Longmorn, I haven't seen the detail on that. That's a very good question. Another member question. Thank you very much. I don't know if it is, then hey, it's double the healing, double your fun. As far as I'm concerned, if it's not, then I think because of the timeline, because we're talking about getting back for OTAs, I don't think it's going to be a big negative if it is the other one. So we never got a very clear picture of what the initial injury was. So that leaves a little bit of wiggle room.
That's a very interesting point. They were very cryptic with what, where, when. We said high ankle sprain. Now we've got meniscus. We don't know what leg. So it's they're definitely trying to be a little bit, I guess, cautious about the information that gets out.
It's like it's a pattern. Yeah.
No big deal.
They keep stuff close to the chest. It is what it is. Daryl, how are you? Glad to see you.
How's it going, Daryl?
Same thing with G-Shan. I hope I say that. Jaja. Want to point this out. If you're new around the channel and you guys want to help us out, go grab one of these in the store or the Super Trooper shirts. Yeah, I just stole that term. That's not legal term right there.
Not copyrighted for Ryan.
No, not copyrighted. I have something copyrighted and trademarked coming out. You guys will see it soon. Hopefully, as soon as I can get it approved. But also you can hit the super chats and the super stickers. We appreciate it. And if you do, please ask something tonight, because this is a live stream on a Friday night that has no game plan, means that we have no game plan. So we're just kind of floating.
You guys can kind of direct it how you want to.
Right. Let's see. That was the same one. Okay. Got Fred's question. I think that was somebody else who had. No. Okay. I got you, Fred. Spicy. Yeah. Dad. Yeah. How many games you watched of his so far?
So I have pretty much watched every time Florida was on TV this year. Like, I watched it for Kadarius Toney. That dude moves very, very similarly to Tyreek Hill in the sense that he is special in short area getting open. He's very special. And he's going to have some drops. I know that he's dealt with a little bit of drops here and there.
Yeah.
But I will deal with them all day for that kind of getting open. You can play him anywhere. That's what Andy Reid loves in this offense. You can play him anywhere. He's going to get open against anything. He's one of my favorite players. And I don't think he's going to be there at 32, but if he is, the NFL just say a prayer. It's over.
Don't worry, Kadarius. Patrick will not be yelling at you because you'll be long gone before they pick. I mean, he was borderline to be in the high 20s before Senior Bowl. Now, I don't know, man. He could get into the mid-teens, I think.
He's definitely pushing his way up. He's a special player.
And guys, I am going to get you some thoughts on Senior Bowl. I will eventually get the film. You guys know how my internet works, and I've been trying all week to download this stuff, and it's just enormous files that I haven't been able to grab. My scheme of screen grabbing sucks, so I wasn't going to go there. We're going to concentrate on the Super Bowl. We're going to go back after that.
Yeah, we're going to get all into it. I promise you guys that much.
Absolutely. Daryl, it would be nice to see him have a good game. I think that's nearly a for sure. Yeah, given his reaction to other games as he watches them without being able to be out there. Yeah. Chris, who's a better pass rush tandem, JPP and Shaq, or Chris and Frank? It's a good question.
It is a very good question.
They're definitely different because you don't get that straight up the gut panic that you can get a quarterback with Chris. Personally, if it was Frank from 19 and Chris from 20, I would say them.
I would agree with that. And I think it's almost a push at this point because I think that JPP and Barrett are the more consistent duo on the field at the same time. Jones is clearly the best pass rusher, but you also have Frank this year who's had some issues getting off of tackles, backup tackles, third string tackles. He had a very good game. He had a very good game on Sunday. That he was doing everything he was supposed to do. I know that they've used him more in coverage and dropping into zones and things like that. But it's almost a push for me because right now you figure, like I said, JPP and Shaq Barrett are actually playing some of their best football this season at this point. Chris Jones is a monster. Like, he's the best pass rusher. So I'm more leaning to it being a push than anything, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, and credit to them. You're right. They have been hitting their stride as the playoffs progress. And let's not discount the fact that they've had to play through the playoffs. They didn't get the bye. It's been a tougher road for them. That said, I've never felt that JPP was super dominant. The fact that he's going to go up against a backup tackle, I think, is going to give him an edge.
Interesting.
But
I think pre-explosion, he was pretty dominant.
Well, okay, and that's probably a fair point. That's true. I am mostly thinking the last few years, but I don't remember a game where it's just we got to develop everything to stop him because he's taken over a game. That's where I'm at.
Not since, definitely not since.
Definitely not since, and maybe once or twice before that. I do take that back, but there wasn't all that. So a push I can live with. Okay, are you worried about? Okay, good point. With playing the backups, yeah, I mean it is a detriment. There are things that you can do though. Driving JPP in particular out of the pocket can be done, especially with an athletic guy like Remmers, who I think is more apt than trying to take on a bull rush. Honestly, the guy that scares me more is Shaq because not only is he quicker and does he have that speed rush, he's good with his hands and he knows these guys for the most part. He's played against Wiley. So, and I think was Wiley a tackle at the time.
He also played against Remmers in the Super Bowl, or not the Super Bowl. Well, maybe it was a Super Bowl. I don't remember. I think he went up against Remmers at some point when he was on the Broncos. So he's got some experience against Remmers too.
Yeah, and so I think he's the guy that I'm a little bit more concerned with overall. But don't look for the Chiefs to change their plan. I don't think, unless we hear something next week, that they're going to devote extra resources to stopping either of them. They're going to try to get the ball out fast. They're going to let Patrick roam when he has to, and that's going to be that.
Yeah. And they don't really have any reason otherwise to think they can't, especially because they're going to use a lot of motion and horizontal motion pre-snap as well as jet sweeps to get them off of their quickness. If you can stop pass rushers and make them think for a second in a pass play, then you're going to win as the quarterback. And that's what Mahomes and this offense do very well. That's why they use so much pre-snap motion and jet sweeps. They attacked the edges pretty well against the Bucs the first time around in the run game with jet sweeps, with reverses, things like that. I expect them to do a lot of the same and force them to think about what they're doing instead of being able to just rush the passers. Because as soon as you do that, that's when you're really going to be at a disadvantage with two backups.
Yeah. Well, and I also think that part of the inside passes to Travis, I think that's part of drawing the defense in more narrowly because they're a little bit more concerned about it. Now, Vita Vea is back, and you got to be paying a lot of attention to where Vita is, but I think that's part of it. So, Benjamin, we got your question. Thank you for that one. Jake, new member, welcome to the crew. I hope you like iffy language. That's all I'm going to say. In fact, for all of you in here tonight, I'll put the member stream up that we did on Tuesday that is a little bit filthier than I should have been, actually. I'll put that up for you. So it'll be members. All members can view it here probably tonight or tomorrow morning. Derek, thanks for yours. Using those. I like that. It looks weird to me because I can't see the actual image. Yeah. Glad you guys can. No, Longmorn, there is no 4X. In fact, with my current supplier, 2X seems to be the cap unless it's like the super high-end premium stuff. So I haven't even offered those because they're just too expensive, I think. But in the off season, I'm looking at switching stores and doing all that so that we can get a wider variety. So yeah, the face masks, they cover everybody. Where else do we go? Oh, got that one. Okay. Dominic, another good question. How do you think they handle the backup situation on both sides? I do think it is going to be Remmers and Wiley. I don't think they're going to go away from that despite having other options. Do you?
No, that's exactly what they're going to do, especially because they both played all year. Yeah. I don't think they want to bring someone in like a Durant who hasn't played all year and someone that's cold. You don't want that. They've been practicing all year. They played all year, essentially, especially Remmers, especially Wiley. I mean, so it makes way more sense just to do that because – you know, their bodies have been preparing for it the whole season.
Yeah. I think they're pretty fired up at this point, so I'll take it. Nick, I'm absolutely with you. He might be my CB1. I haven't decided. I've watched some of his film. I haven't watched many others, so I have to compare a little bit, you know. And Dan and I will argue later. Which matchups can we take advantage of with our secondary in the Bucs offense? I mean, the biggest advantage they have, in my opinion, is that I feel that they can man up. As long as Snead is good to go, I feel they can man up and they can let Tyron roam and they can let Juan kind of do his thing where he sets up one way and can just drive on the ball. The one that we saw last week can get to the sideline and pick passes off even down the sideline. So I think it's kind of lulling them to sleep, in my opinion, so the safeties can go work at taking the ball away.
Yeah, I get that. I personally think you can take advantage of Mike Evans, Mike Evans, who he's not a great route runner. He can run some routes, but they really rely on him to just kind of go get the football. Like that's kind of what they do. Tom Brady has really shown this year that he's trying to air the ball down the field. So one, you got to get in there. Breland, I think, matches up very well against him, that he can really take advantage of that. He can get in his face, be more physical with him, because I think Mike Evans is also a guy that you can frustrate. I think they can get in there, and with Breland attacking his chest and making it so he throws off that timing, and then you see Tom Brady throwing the ball over his head like he did in the first game. Like I think that's an area where they can attack. Godwin's a much better polished route runner. He's just a better overall receiver in terms of what he can do to manipulate corners. I like the matchup with Evans and Breland personally.
I'm with you. And, you know, for Ward, we all know about the turning the head around thing, but he's got to attack the hands when he does get matched up on Evans, because I think they'll look to do that and put Godwin over on Breland. Yeah. I think they have the advantage when they're lined up that way for both, honestly. But
yeah, probably very much so.
Film tracks, I'm not terribly concerned about it. And honestly, neither are they. If they give up 150 yards rushing, they figure you just ate yourself out of a possession, and Patrick will make you pay.
Let's just put it this way. They played the best rush offense in the NFL, but when you get up on a rush offense, it doesn't matter. Like, that's what the Chiefs really do. They're going to go out and they're going to score points. They're going to force you to score points. And when you run the football over and over and over again, especially with guys like Leonard Fournette, who Leonard Fournette's not a very good running back. Let's just put it that way. I think that he has some things he does well, but what we saw against the Packers with him getting to the outside and running guys over for a 20-yard touchdown run, I don't see that happening this week or in the Super Bowl.
I don't really either. We might struggle running inside. How concerning is that? Lucky Croc, it's not terribly. Let them have that because their safeties aren't practicing. The middle of this field deep is going to be a playground for Tyreek Hill.
It's really bad, and I feel for the Bucs because this is one of the most demanding seasons. No one got their preseason anythings in, like they weren't able to get prepared for the season properly. We're all going to deal with certain injuries, like we talked about before the season started. There was going to be a ton of injuries, and there were. And now, I mean, the Chiefs are feeling them right now in the Super Bowl. Bucs clearly are. They're two safeties. Like that's a real tough situation to put a defense in against this Chiefs offense. Like against another team, maybe you get an opportunity still to hear. But you've got, we talked about the weapons: Mecole Hardman, Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, Travis Kelce. You could just run 4 verts essentially against those safeties. What are they going to do?
Yeah, and that's going to be the problem for them. Julian, I agree with you. He's an interesting prospect. I got to get into his film, but he did pop a couple of times, I thought, in the last couple of days. Frank, have you seen a reason for Frank's drop-off? Not particularly. Like, I think he's always battling something, but I don't know what it is.
I think that bug or whatever is up with his stomach issues and his intestinal issues have made him lose a little bit of his weight and some of his strength overall. Excuse me, but we don't know. He's never going to tell us because that's the kind of person that Frank Clark is. And granted, like I said, he looked much better on Sunday against the Bills. Like he looked back to last year, Frank Clark is what he looked like to me when I watched his film. Yeah. So whether it's maybe he has another gear to go to when he knows that he kind of needs it and they don't necessarily need it throughout the entire season, I don't know.
Yeah. That may be it. We won't know until we know. No, we know that he's focused on it, though. I think the Mink shows that he was focused on getting the Super Bowl. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think that especially while he wants that rematch with Tom Brady.
Yeah, right.
Looking forward to that.
Mahalo, Maui, bro. I appreciate it. We get too caught up in too many things. I can't keep them straight, so I need the help.
Broncos, Panthers. That's what it was.
Oh, Jake, you are South Jag. I didn't realize that. Okay. Rock on. Yeah, it is, but Willie's going to be fine. He'll bounce back and he'll be right in it. Lady D, thank you very much for the super chat. It is nice to see you. I know Fridays are kind of a weird night for a live stream, but hey, I'm glad you made it. It's going to be an interesting game, and quite frankly, I'm trying not to get too ahead of myself. I'm trying to stay grounded so far, so let's just enjoy Friday evening, and I'll have a beer when we're done. I didn't bring one down here. I don't know.
I had to get one in.
You've had a long day. So, Lady D, thank you very much. Here's to you, even though I don't have anything.
Sorry, I got you.
There you go. Put it out. Are you guys happy wearing the red jerseys? Couldn't care less. As long as it's not white on white.
I don't get all this stuff about the jerseys. Like, they're going to go out there and play. The jerseys won't matter. Like, it's like the same thing about the end zones. Like, okay, they're bringing the other ones back. I like the way they look, but it's not like, I don't really care.
Who do you think will step up with Willie out? Do you think Neiman will continue what I think was better performance?
No, I think he definitely can. Brait and Gronk provide a different matchup. Mm-hmm. They are not very dynamic athletically, but they're big guys. And I think that he might be tasked with covering them. And yeah, he might be in position, but we might see what happened against the Bills happen to him again with a smaller back. Yeldon just mossed him like he went up to get the football.
Yeah.
Might happen again.
Never know. Matt, good point. Undefeated in the white pants and red tops. I'll take it every time. Laddie, glad you made it, folks. Check out Laddie and everything that he does, please. Laddie, drop a link or something in the thing. And I agree with you. I think they'll be fine.
Yeah.
Oh, and see, Julian, you're watching the same stuff I am. Jabril Cox jumped my board at least 5 spots this week.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You let the Senior Bowl affect you that much?
I always let it affect me that much because that's what teams do. So, yeah, I take it in. When you step up, especially for a guy who came from North Dakota State, jumped into LSU, had that adjustment period, and now he's able to keep up. And quite frankly, what I really liked is him coming through the line. I think that he can press a lot. Like I saw from Willie, like when he blitzed, he's effective and he's super raw still. So I love upside.
Yeah, Baron Brown into that for me though.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Dude.
And the cool part about it is with all the tackles and all the wide receivers, I think there's going to be an option in the second round to get somebody like that if that's where they need to go.
I don't think it's going to be, but I personally don't think they're taking linebacker until day 3. Like I don't think that's up on their list of needs that far.
No, I don't think so either. But I do think if one of them survives to that point, they might be the best guy on their board.
Yeah, and I totally get that. That would be something they would do, especially if there's no one that they really want to take. I can see that. I know this is a deep offensive line draft. Like I've been looking. I think they're going to have to. They're going to have to do something there, like multiple picks.
Yeah, good old boys. Maybe even more long-haired guys. I don't know. I'm thinking of one in particular. Brad, thank you very much. Appreciate the support. I'm hoping you have a question down here, and I will dig to find it. Aaron Todd, how are you? Do you think Hardman will be the punt returner? I hope not. They are about loyalty, and quite frankly, I think last week proved to them that they can let him make up if he does do something wrong.
I would love to see Pringle do it, to be honest with you, because I think that he's just as dynamic in terms of being able to take one to the house, but they will stick with Hardman because he has that 4.3 speed, and he's a good returner. He is. He does make some plays like we saw the muff, but I think the good plays that he makes as a returner when he gets the ball in space outweigh some of the muffs, the mistakes.
Yeah, I think so as well. Will, no, this is not taking the place of the Monday Q&A. This is just that we're producing content for the channel. I'm doing the podcast. I'm trying to study the Senior Bowl film. I'm trying to start on the analytics and a whole bunch of other stuff. Plus, I have a short film I'm trying to edit for you guys that I'm going to dedicate myself to this weekend so that I can get it done. So it was just easier to say, hey, you know what? We don't have a game plan. We're just going to do a live stream and see what happens. So I'm glad you made it.
Yeah. Much more fun this way.
And there's Brad's question. Thank you. I understand the Bucs are planning heavy PreStep Motion. Does that impact RD? No. They deal with that all the time very, very well. And quite frankly, I don't think that it's going to phase them in the slightest. Do you?
Here's what I don't get. Why would the Bucs start implementing it now?
Right.
Wouldn't that just throw off your offense a little bit? Like, I feel like that's just, they're going to add some stuff, and that's going to make them either one, line up wrong, and they're going to have penalties, or they're going to be going offsides, things like that. If they're adding way bunch more stuff offensively that they're not used to, like, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, to be honest with you. And yeah, a lot of teams in the NFL use a ton of pre-snap motion. I don't think that the Chiefs' defense is going to be affected in all that much by it, to be honest with you.
I don't think it's going to be a breeze for them. They're going to do what they do. They're still going to be focused on bringing the blitz and forcing the action themselves. Leon, we talked about this a little bit earlier. I think, honestly, it's going to be about getting the ball out and taking advantage of where they can. I don't think it has to be a whole lot more than that. Well, it's a great idea, but I got to tell you guys, quite frankly, he'd be active if he was going to be active. Yeah. This whole week would have been the time to get him readjusted to the pace of the offense, et cetera, et cetera. He's not going to play. If I'm wrong, more power to him.
Yeah, exactly. Like I've just been telling everybody since the start of the postseason, he's not going to play. I know that we all want him back to play, but he just don't think about it. He's not going to play.
Yeah. Chiefs guy, I do think they will, and I think I'm perfectly fine with that because contacting Brady slows him down. It makes him overthrow. It's a number of things.
Not even contact, just getting around him. You just get a couple feet of him, he's going to throw it. Like we saw it last week. He had guys in his face, and he was just throwing picks. He was like, "You get a pick. You get a pick. You get a pick."
This ain't no yoga mat, bro. Laddie, why is Hitchens suddenly improving? That is a really good question. Tell me.
It's his second year in the defense.
You think?
I 100% believe it because it's one, we talked about when Spag was hired about how this defensive system was supposed to be simpler for everybody, like especially the linebackers, getting everything under his belt. When you're learning a brand new system, it takes you time to know all the reads, everything you need to know from the playbook, and then reproducing it on the field. He had already gone from Dallas to Bob Sutton, then Bob Sutton now to Spag. So that's 3 different defensive systems in 3 years. Now he's here. He's fully in Spag's system. He knows everything. Like, this is 100% the player that I thought we were getting when they got him in free agency. I thought this is what we were going to see for the most part. Yeah. Now we're seeing everything on the field show that he knows the playbook and he doesn't have to think so much.
Yeah. I like where you're at. I was going to say something similar in that I feel like he's more comfortable in the assignment that he has to carry out, and they're not asking him to take on guards full on. Yeah. You know, they're not asking him to do things he can't do that well. Yeah. So, William, no, there's no way they could afford Godwin. This team's $18 million over the cap right now, so they're not bringing anybody major unless they get rid of somebody major. Chris, how do you feel about the linebackers, Dirty Dan, versus the tight ends and running backs? I would feel better with Willie out there, especially against Rojo, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
But
he dropped so many passes. I mean,
right. For me, the only thing is if we see what happened last week, where they don't use Gronkowski, they don't use him, they fall asleep on him, and he sneaks out for a major play like he did the last time they played. And Alex Brown, I know that was a terrible night for you. It's not your fault. It's just about getting lulled into that. Hey, they're not using him.
Yeah, it's a big problem, and we see it a bunch really with even something as simple as these pass protection leaks that everyone has been using. You know, Travis Kelce got wide open twice.
Yeah,
against the Bills, and he's the best tight end in the NFL. Like, you always have to know where these players are. You can't just get comfortable, say, oh, they're pass blocking, and then turn away really quickly, because that's what happens a lot. We've seen it with really good tight ends. They pass block for a second, they let you go, and then he's out wide open for a 15, 20-yard gain. You have to be mentally focused and sharp and realize that they could always be an option. You always have to know where they are.
Those delays are killer. And if you guys missed it last night, I broke down that play. Like, I went almost as deep as I shouldn't have because there was so much stuff in there. So, I mean, it's crazy. Oh, and we're already half an hour, so we're going to speed this up because I have an interview in 10 minutes, folks. So we're going to get to that. You guys will hear Therese Paylor on the podcast again next week. I'll just give it away now. So, Mike, we did notice Eskridge. I haven't paid specific attention to him. Have you, Dan?
A little bit. The Chiefs will probably like him. I'm personally want a bigger guy. I want a bigger guy.
Fair enough. I'm the same way with Amari
Rodgers.
Yes. Jeremy. Oh, okay, good. I'm glad you made it.
Going.
Hey, half the time I don't know what's on, man. Chris, what do you think of the prior of the first 3 rounds? Any good players at corner, linebacker, guard, tackle?
Wide receiver.
They will take wide receiver first because that's the last one I mentioned. It is what it is. Brian, we have a ton of it. It's at the RGR store. It's linked in the description of this video. We have these and a bunch of other stuff. Tons of it. If I could be in the chat because Aaron's not here, I would put it up for you, but I can't. It's what happens when it's third-party software, but it does look better, I think. It wouldn't let me throw up your questions if it wasn't. Brother Rick, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. Who do you think will be the inactives for the game? Unfortunately, I don't think Colin Saunders is going to play.
No, I don't think so either. It's a tough question right there. I think that if Bell keeps, limiting his practice, he might be inactive. But to get down to it, I think that for the most part, everyone who's been inactive up until now will continue to be that.
Yeah, I think probably Durant's the one guy I think they might keep active just as an emergency. But I think you're going to see most of the usual suspects. Derek, I think there could be a problem. You never know, but I don't think it's ever going to cause.
This feels like a question directed right at me.
That's why I'm answering it, so you don't act. This is a great one because I've been thinking about this more and more lately, hot and spicy. The thing is, yes, I would take him back. Absolutely. No, I would not make him a starter.
Correct. I wouldn't pay him either.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking, I won't say vet min. He's worth more than that.
Yeah, $2 million contract.
Backup. But yeah, not to be your starter because the concussion thing scares the pants off of me. If you give him a big contract, I just don't think he'll play it.
Yeah.
So, hey, do you think that Hill will be back to return? I think they might, Daryl.
They might do that a couple times to scare the punter.
Yeah, I mean, to scare the punter, scare them all. I mean, that's a fear factor. I'm not even.
Is.
Oh, Aaron made it? I don't think Aaron's in.
I think
Sorry,
he's
Robert.
saying it just in case.
Okay, yeah, hey,
bases.
I do that sometimes too. And Robert, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So playoff as a Sammy is a go. Yes, I think that today means nothing.
Yeah, I truly believe so.
We covered that. Nicholas, thank you for your super chat. We appreciate it. Do you think the game is more about being out coached by Reed and Spags versus better coaching? Or being better coaches, sorry. You go ahead.
Yeah, I think that they're a better tandem. Todd Bowles is an excellent defensive coordinator, but I think Reed and Spags complement each other's game plan very well. Reed's going to get out in front early, and Spags is going to be able to blitz all he wants to. So it just kind of meshes better than I think that Bruce Arians and Bowles do.
Yeah,
they feel like they do this a lot.
I think it seems like it, and that doesn't mean that they're bad. They're both very good coaches. But you also have to understand that you're not going to see that fluke touchdown to Miller like you saw at the end of the game. Pettin got let go today. So like he's out for that.
He's done.
I mean, that's significant. And I feel like Andy and Spags keep it tight, keep it on track, and it isn't so much. The question is going to be, I'm guessing Todd Bowles learned his lesson. He's going to play too high. He's not going to try to man up Tyreek Hill anymore. If he's like, oh, we've improved and we can go back to that, it's going to be the same old story.
I think we're going to see it a couple times.
You might. Okay, let's see. We're going to wrap it up here, folks. I want to hit the big ones here. Yes, Dan loves Tony. What do you I think we both feel like he's a little he's running good routes, but I'm not going to invest.
5'9", right?
Yeah. I mean, there's only one Tyreek, okay? And he's undersized, and every time he gets hit hard, I cringe.
Granted, Waddle is pretty close.
Well, okay, fine. Shut up. He's like 5'11".
Yeah. So?
Okay, I'm just saying. What's the deal with Lee? I don't know who Lee is. There we go. What's the deal with Lev? His knee swelled up on him. I think it's just a function of getting older. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he can take the pounding anymore.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think too.
Tampa has a young secondary. How much do you think anybody trying to take advantage of the inexperience there all day long?
That's all he's going to do. He's going to be able to get him wherever he wants to. He's going to line him up wherever he wants to and shoot him wherever. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, and I think you're going to see the play action come in. I think the RPO is going to be big.
Yep.
I expect Patrick to be fully healed in the foot, in the toe. I think he'll probably still have the shank in.
He's going to make some plays with his feet in this game. Promise you that.
Yeah, I'm with you. Are you guys sorry, Aaron Todd, thank you. Are you guys thinking there'll be plenty of Breland, Snead, Fenton, Dirty, and Thornhill? I think Snead will be back, yes. And I think Fenton will rotate. I think you're going to see Ward out there plenty. I think he's the guy you didn't mention yet. So,
I think there's going to be a couple interceptions to go around. I think there's a couple sitting out there.
And hey, Fenton is sneaky good at that. He comes up with the ball.
He's always in the right spot.
I know, right? It's crazy. How many years do you think Andy has left? How long's Patrick's
I was about to say, as long as Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback, I think Andy's going to be fine.
I think it's Patrick's contract or a seventh ring. Yeah. That's his terminal velocity, I think. Jake, trade Sammy and D-Rob for picks. No, they're both coming up for free agency. You can't trade them. Elevate Pringle to wide receiver 3 behind Hardman. I'm good with that. Can we trade 1-for-1 for Sammy for an offense? Can't trade Sammy. Sorry. Dave Perez, as always, thank you very much. Glad you're here. Do you see the Division 3 guard? Yeah, Miners, pancaking people. Yeah, I just put a shirt on, bro.
No, I love it.
Yeah, okay. All right, that's cool.
That's how an offensive lineman should be. That's like the ideal offensive lineman right there. That's that guy. He's
actually the long-haired dude I was referring to earlier in the clip. And yeah, Dave, he sounds like he's really made the transition. He said he worked going from guard to center. It's something he did himself. So it feels like he's got the noodle that he can figure it out.
I like that guy.
Let's see. Nathan, how are you? True or false, the secondary coaches and O-line coaches are the best in the NFL and will consider a general lack of high-level investment we put in those positions. I wouldn't say that. I think Madison is a good coach. I think Dave Merritt is a good coach. I think Andy Heck is a good coach. Are they the elite? Probably not.
No, probably not. I like them, but I think that Dante Scarnecki is probably a little bit.
I think specifically on the defensive side, I think they are very in step with Brett Veach, with Ryan Poles, with Mike Borgonzi about getting guys into the system that fit what they want to do on defense. So I think it is the match more than it is that It's just unconsidered. All right, guys, we are just about out of time. I don't see many more question marks. So thank you for all the super chatters. Oh, wait, there's one more. There's Nathan. You must have shown up late. Am I the only one concerned about Remmer and LT? No. With and how he fared with Irving. No, I wouldn't. I would call him much better than Cam Irving, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
So you don't disagree?
Especially this year, he's been playing. Like I said, we've mentioned it multiple times. He's playing some of his best football in a very long time. So
yeah, Benjamin, he's a guy to keep an eye on. I'm just going to tell you that.
Yeah, if he's there in the end of the first round, I can 100% see them taking a shot there.
Yeah. That's it. All right, folks, I got to run. We're going to do an interview. Thank you, 400 of you on a Friday night. I hope that you guys have a good one. That's kind of fun. Dan, I hope you get an offer very soon. Good luck on the house.
Thank you.
Woo. And everybody, enjoy your weekend. We'll be back with you next week. Monday night Q&A like normal, and then on we go. So get ready for Super Bowl. I'm kind of pumped. You guys have a good weekend. We'll talk to you next time.